Here we are at the statue of Eric Morecambe. Eric Bartholomew chose to take the name of his birthplace as his name, and that became known around the world. One of his favourite songs was Bring Me Sunshine. And this place here in Morecambe was where many people did come for their sunshine on their holidays. The theatres will be packed with celebrities like Eric, and the hotels and guest houses will be busy too. Now, much of that trade has gone, and this town is left with significant areas of deprivation. Areas in the centre of town and down in the West End are often very high on the deprivation indices. But what of the church in this place? There is evidence of Christian activity going back to the 8th or 9th century, and possibly even earlier than that. But what is the church doing now? Well, one of the most visible activities of the church in this place is reaching out to those most vulnerable people in a place like that, seeking to, in a way, bring them sunshine. We're going to be looking at what the church is doing in this place, seeking to follow the words of Jesus, who said to his disciples, "Come, follow me." What does that mean here in the 21st century? As in many towns that have pockets of deprivation, probably the most high-profile organisation is the Trussell Trust Food Bank, which has been meeting and been running in the middle of Morecambe since December 2012.
Hello, my name's Annette Smith and I'm from Morecambe Food Bank and I'm the project manager. In the first 12 months we actually doubled what we were doing, so we started off doing about 50 people a month, and then it grew to 100, and now we're doing 250, and we distribute 3 tonnes of food a month. Actually, our demand has increased so much that we've actually expanded out of this room. We thought this was going to be the food bank, but we're well expanded. We have them from babies, brand new babies, right the way up to I think the oldest client we've dealt with at the moment is 81, which is very shocking that we're dealing with vulnerable people of all age groups. It's been very shocking the amount of families that we're dealing with, especially a lot of the bigger families, and what we're finding now that the winter's coming in, that some families are moving in with their relatives, which is making food parcels quite big, but it's reducing their bills, but they're sharing bedrooms. There's a very high percentage of people that have got changes with unemployment benefits or personal disability benefits, and they're having changes and they're having to wait. It's a very high percentage of the work that we're doing. But also it's changes in circumstances. We have people that are very ill that need to come, people that have come straight from hospital that get help, but people that have just had a real life shock, things that they weren't expecting. I think we're not reaching as many people as we should be reaching, in particular the more mature of our community, because of pride. And I think they've always managed and they've never needed to ask for help, so they'd be ashamed to ask for help. We quite often find that some people will walk past the door with vouchers in the hand and still be too ashamed to come in through the door. Across
Morecambe, there's somewhere every day where vulnerable people are able to go for a free hot meal. On Monday, the lunch is served at Stanley Road Baptist Church.
Hello, I'm Denise Scholes. I'm a member of Stanley Road Baptist Church and I'm the voluntary community worker there. Every Monday morning we arrive quite early because we provide breakfast and lunch for people who are homeless or living in poverty. The numbers that come vary from probably 35 up to about 48. It's changed in that it's gone up quite dramatically. We have quite a large number now and the need is very much greater than it was. The age profile is vast. We go from a 2-month-old baby of a single mum with 2 small children with very limited income, and our oldest is probably a man who is lovely and is 76. We're serving the community in which we live, and we're serving it in one of the best ways that we can help people who live locally. We definitely notice a difference when they've been here. Some of them come in quite a distressed state. Some of them, depending on the weather, can be wet and uncomfortable. Some of them haven't eaten since the lunchtime the day before. By the time they leave, they're usually calm, they're usually warm, and they've usually had somebody to talk to as well as good food, and they leave in a much happier state.
The 2 other providers of free meals are Morecambe Homeless Action and West End Impact at Morecambe Community Church. The work of Impact has developed and is now varied and well respected.
I'm Michael Cole. I'm the pastor of Morecambe Community Church and volunteer manager at West End Impact, our charity.
I'm Tracy Cole. I'm the manager at Western Impact and pastor of Morecambe Community Church alongside him. We work very much together. People, when we provided a free meal, came because they were hungry. Basic as that, really. And from that, it's developed because we saw when they were coming for a free meal that there was a lot more extensive needs that we needed to address. It's developed now where the first point of contact is still the free meal, but we can then work with the people and look at their housing issues, addictions, low self-esteem, mental health issues, and any other issues that may come around that. So it's meant that obviously we can't tackle everything ourselves, but we've looked at other statutory agencies to help those issues.
It's really our faith that drives us to love people in a very holistic kind of way. So traditionally churches perhaps offered prayer and the sermon, and strategy agencies engaged people with their specific needs, housing and benefits and so forth. But we as a church just see that our love for people, God's love for people, really drives us to engage, look at the whole person. And so we try and champion their cause as individuals. At times we have found that some agencies are reluctant to work with us, partly because traditionally churches have done things haphazardly and not very well, and that'll do kind of approach. We just try and provide an excellent service to our clients, to not only give agencies confidence that they can refer clients to us, but also because the clients really deserve excellent service, and the God we serve deserves excellent service, and so we do the best with what we have to help people properly.
In Morecambe, vulnerability can take many forms, and the opportunities to respond can be varied, as they have found out at Heysham Free Methodist Church.
I'm Dan Cronin, I'm the church worker at Heysham Free Methodist Church. Well, as a church, the area's become a lot busier, so there's a lot more traffic going past, because not only is the health centre, we've also got the sports and the sports facility behind as well, so we've got a lot more cars and a lot more people around. But also as a church, we've seen it as an opportunity to reach out into our community. About 18 months ago, our pastor, our minister Mark Johnston, approached the health centre and said, "How can I serve you? We've heard there's a listening service going on at another local church in Carnforth." And so after a few conversations, they set up a listening service in the surgery, in which basically where a lot of people who are lonely or just need someone to talk to would actually ring up and get a doctor's appointment. The doctors would now refer them to Mark, where he would give them a listening service, where he would listen to them for a 50-minute appointment, and maybe offer to pray with them at the end, but just to let them get stuff off their chest. And actually that freed up doctors' time, but also freed them up because they were able to unload some baggage in lots of ways as well. Working together, we wanted to get into our local high school, which we haven't been in for a while. They got a new deputy head in the school, so I said to her, "How can we serve you? If I can give you a morning, could you use me?" And so for the last 4 months we've had a listening service in that school, and already the teachers are already saying the massive difference it's made to some of these students as they go through life, whether that's in school and they've got a much more positive approach, which is really encouraging. We have a massive programme that we run in the walls, but stepping out into our community and showing our community that we're here, that we love them, that Jesus loves them even more so. It's just a great way that we can serve our community.
In some cases, external funding from the Cinnamon Network has helped, including those at the Gym Church, which is close to Morecambe Town Centre.
Okay, my name is Lorna Plora and I'm the family and community worker working at the Gym Methodist Church in Morecambe. A number of ways in which we've tried to address the gaps in the walls. So through the youth group, trying to improve the sort of provision for youth here in this area. We've looked at doing cap money, which is to do with helping people with their finances and looking after their money better. And we've also set up a Make Lunch, which is to do with helping kids on free school meals get hot food in the holidays to help avoid that holiday hunger. I think it's really important to understand the area that you're working in order to meet the needs and not try and aim for something that just isn't needed or wanted in the area. You know, there's a lot of issues in this area about, yes, you can advertise something and you can run things, but people don't always want to come in on the back of that and actually join in. So that is a challenge all the time, actually, trying to promote it, trying to enable all the agents in the area to know about it so they can promote it with their clients.
There are many other projects run by churches and Christian organisations in Morecambe and Heysham, and many of those who are engaged in social action featured in the Faith in the Community conference held at the Platform in Morecambe in November 2014. There were speakers from both faith and secular backgrounds, with the keynote speaker being Major Drew McComb from the Salvation Army.
If we reduce our investment to programmes, we reduce the poor to beneficiaries. If we reduce our investment to money alone, we reduce them to beggars. If we are about transforming lives, then we must invest with life, and then we will see life.
But what of the future? What can churches and Christian organisations expect? What can we learn from one another?
I think the key opportunities and the ways in which we can take it forward are definitely to reevaluate what we're doing all the time. And I think the danger can be you start something and you keep doing it, where there may be a different way of doing it that is better, which is why we're trying, cap and make lunch over at the school next year. But the key values have always got to be that we love God first and foremost and want to love our neighbour and demonstrate our love for them in practical ways that actually help them and draw them, to God.
I guess the way church engages with the community is changing and will have to continue to change simply because society has moved on. So where maybe once the church had a prominent place in the community, sort of almost an authority, it is no longer that. But yet, a lot of the social care is happening through churches and Christian volunteer organisations. And I think as long as the church is engaging with the community in that way, then things will happen for the church and the Christian faith.
I don't think we would have the door into Heysham High that we currently do if it wasn't for working alongside West End Impact and alongside Nisku, because for both of those had different links than what I had. Whilst I had a few contacts, they had different contacts.
Partnership between Christian organisations in a town is essential because we all sort of depend on each other for different resources. We can share assets. We work with lots of other different Christian organisations because they're also doing food. So those that are doing lunches, Make Lunch, Homeless Action, Salvation Army, then we can share if we've got surpluses or if they have a specific need, then we can help them out. But also it works the other way around.
I think it's difficult to say whether the need will increase. I would like to think that the need will decrease, but I don't see that happening. The way that people's money is being so difficult to come by, I think that it may well increase even more than it is now.
These ruins go back to the 8th century, we're told, here in Heysham. Now, in many ways, the church has changed a lot since then. It's windy, the wind has changed, has certainly happened in the church. But here in Morecambe and Heysham, such a lot of activity is going on. We've heard something of that in this video. There's much more we could have shown you. Many more churches are actively involved too. But all of them doing it in the name of Jesus, seeking to share the love of God. Now, there's a wonderful incident in Jesus' life where he meets blind Bartimaeus. And Bartimaeus cries out for help. And Jesus says to him, "What do you want me to do for you?" And Bartimaeus says, "I want to see." Maybe this sets an example to us as churches, that as we engage more and more with our community, we're asking the community, what do you want us to do for you? And as we do that, the love of God will be shared, and like with blind Bartimaeus, God shows up and miracles happen. May God bless us as we seek to serve him in this area. Thank you.